Energy equals Michael times CC. Since we all became of this universe, should we not ask who we are, whence we came? Insight clefts the night with its radiance, the theory of everything shines through. In quest of truth, brave Michael spent his days among the ToeQuest Knights. He sought life's ways to find the theory that would all explain, his heart set forth on wisdom's burning blaze. Michael had dedicated his life to assisting the less fortunate and giving love to all, as well as to the quest of the Holy Grail of the Toe, being one of the glorious few of the Knights of the Round Table of ToeQuest. Those who looked beyond, above, below, and within the everyday into the very life and source of the magic of existence. When agents came to seize him in his chair, 20 sides guarded with suspicious care.
I am Numina.
Then turned to light and vanished through the air. He'd heard, with some alarm, of the narrow escapes of his fellow ToeQuesters and was almost worried. Michael was well aware that his nearly real name and picture appeared on his every post. The picture was small, but the name could be deduced, and so the new MI8 group had done so, locating his residence. However, Michael awaited them in his lounge chair, having a trick up his sleeve that he couldn't wait to pull on them. So there he was, posting away to 100 different threads when they arrived and surrounded him on 20 sides.
Please come with us peacefully. There is no escape. We have guards on all the exits and on all the entrances.
I am Numina.
As he turned into pure energy, a state that could not be maintained for more than a few seconds, but time enough for him to zoom away at near the speed of light. He'd been practicing this, and it was always quite exhilarating, although he couldn't sense as well during it. It had a refractory time of a few days, whereupon he could perform it again just by thinking energize. Around the globe 14 times did he speed, through mountain, tree and tower with spirit freed. Till in the Queen's own chamber did he land, a royal fright from his ethereal deed. Through space he streaked, a beam of living light, round Earth 14 times in his quantum flight, till in the Queen's own chamber did he pause. Her Majesty awoke in quite a fright. Anyway, he disappeared from right in front of their eyes and took off, easily passing through buildings, trees and mountains, and going around the world about 14 times before he materialized, of all places, next to the Queen of England in her bed at 1 a.m. The palace guards stood stoic at their post as Michael, glowing like a radiant ghost, walked down and poured his tea with gentle grace. Of all his tricks, this one amused him most. Down palace stairs with mystic glow he strode, poured royal tea, as if 'twere his abode, while guards stood fast, their faces carved in stone, though mirth did threaten their prescribed code. She shrieked, and he calmly bowed and walked down the stairs, poured a cup of tea and went out the front door, almost making the Buckingham Palace guards smile, for he had a certain glow, but they weren't allowed to show any emotion. Now, mortal bound for days, he took his leave. His TR3 through winding roads did weave, till fortune's wheel brought forth a humble flat, such earthly bonds that even heroes grieve. Now bound in mortal form for days to come, to ninja wisdom's call he must succumb. Yet in his mind those moments pure remain, when with creation's pulse his heart beat drum. For the next few days he would be a merely mortal phenom, and would have to be on his toes to be taller and see beyond the pale, to note any tales of those hound-dogging him for the toe or the tot. Meanwhile, he replayed in his mind his energizing travels as a Numina, when he was one with all that is and was, although he could still appreciate the usefulness of the normal sensing form of life incarnate. Michael decided to stay out of sight by taking a much-earned vacation weekend from helping others cope during the few days that he had before he was due at the Ninja base, and so he drove his TR3 towards the hills and beyond for one last romp. He turned his engine loose, roaring onto the open road. He was doing at least 5 kph over the speed limit, weaving gracefully around the slower-moving cars. Towards hills and vales, his TR3 did race. 5 units past the law's decreed swift pace. When Fortune's wheel did turn with mocking spin, his chariot protested with ill grace.
Oh, cursed fate.
The wanderer did cry, as by the road his pristine suit awry. He wrestled with the wheel of bitter chance, when, lo, an angel's presence caught his eye. Upon the road, a vision pure and bright, like dawn's first ray that pierces through the night. Left Michael standing, speechless, tire in hand, his heart suspended in its swift delight. While changing tires beside the dusty way, his pristine suit now smudged in disarray. A vision bright appeared upon the road as heaven's answer to his heart that day. A yellow streak of Ferrari's pride, at speeds that made the wind's force multiplied, swept past our hero on his roadside paws, while dust clouds dimmed his garment's former pride. She was driving a yellow Testarossa, breaking the speed limit and hitting at least 125 miles per hour, almost blowing him off the shoulder of the road. Darn! Now his white suit had become a dusty grey. He got a good look at her, though, since she had her top down. Her trailing scarf danced like a banner bright, her plate read Trish. He knew at first sight.
She's the one.
She's the one! He cried with joy complete, till theory's quest fled from his mind's delight. He could hardly contain himself, and he even stopped thinking about the theory of thing for a while.
She's the one! That's the woman for me!
With haste he gave pursuit along the way. His humble TR3 and smoky spray could scarce achieve the mountain road's demands, while she, swift goddess, would not deign to stay. He quickly twisted the lug nuts back on the wheel, jumped into his car and raced after her, but unfortunately his old TR3 could do only 85 miles per hour or so on the switchback upgrades. A bit of smoke poured from his engine, suggesting that he was burning oil and would never catch her. But fate, that fickle mistress of our days, led both their paths to cross in Fortune's maze, where fast food's temple stood beside the road, and there she stood within his wondering gaze. Then he got lucky, for he spotted her car parked outside a fast food restaurant. That's her type of food, he thought, he having once eaten slow food. Escargot. As he drove into the parking lot, she was already walking out with a hamburger in her hand.
Fair Trish, I seek your heart, your style so grand. Trish, my name is Michael, and I'm on my way up in the world of Thing. I am falling in love with you and your style, and so I would like to take you out tonight and get to know you very well.
Okay, Michael, I'll make a deal with you, one that we'll both enjoy. If you can keep up with me throughout the day, then you can have me tonight, and get that suit cleaned.
With French fries gifted from her fleeing form, he watched her car kick dust in swirling storm. His suit now darker than the evening shade, yet hope burned bright where passion's flames were born. She handed him the remains of her French fries and quickly roared off in her new Testarossa, its wheels spinning and spitting even more dirt onto Michael, turning his now grey suit to a dark brown color. Her antics only convinced him all that more that she was the girl for him, for she seemed rich, daring, confident, attractive, sexy, and so full of energy. What charm she held, what grace in every part, rich, daring, wise. She pierced straight through his heart, her eyes that spoke of mysteries untold. Her presence made his very soul restart. Plus, she had a ready wit and was good-looking too. She had long hair, a body that was alive, and erotic, exotic features. Her eyes had looked straight into him. She was more than fine, she just oozed with charm, personality, and sex appeal. He stood transfixed where empty air remained, while far below her car's wild song proclaimed, wild and free, the anthem of her soul, as with a wave his frozen spirit claimed. He stood there dazed for a moment, still talking to the air that she'd just vacated. Already he could see her car speeding along the road below, her radio music blaring some music that sang, wild and free, that's what I want to be. She looked up and gave him a wave, urging him on, and this shook him out of his trance. He even managed to wave back, although he felt like a frozen statue and could hardly lift his arm. Unknown to him, 18 blue cars drew near, the MI-8 in pursuit severe, while Michael raced his chariot with might, down winding paths where danger lurked so clear. Michael ran to his car and raced down the hillside after her, going faster and ever faster. Even running off onto the shoulder several times and then almost going off the side of the road. Through curves that tested steel and spirit's nerve, each downshift prayer that he might yet preserve. His chase of love along the mountain spine, while ancient TR3 fought each steep swerve. The curves were real tricky, and so he had to assist the car's braking by downshifting into second gear, sometimes even into first. He couldn't keep up with her, of course, but at least he could still see her now and then down the other side. He was pushing his car to its limit and loving every minute of it. The thrill of chase sang through his racing blood as natural opiates released their flood. Past trucks he darted, courting death's embrace, while wisdom whispered, tempt not fate's dark flood. His heart beat time to passion's wild command. As mountain roads stretched through the misty land, each glimpse of yellow streak that caught his eye drew him toward destiny's appointed hand. Oh, the thrill of it, and for good reason too, love. This was not just simple speeding, it was speeding for a purpose. Speeding as if his life depended on it, or at least his love life.
Don't do that again!
As death he courted on the winding way, past loves appeared like ghosts of yesterday. Women are cars, his racing mind declared, and Trish a racer living for today. As he courted death, his love lives flashed before him. Women were like cars, he thought. Trish, of course, was a race car, revving her engine to the limit, taking every turn to the edge and living every moment as if it were her last. While station wagons plod with cautious care, their drivers bound to duties everywhere. His Trish lived free upon the razor's edge, her spirit soaring through the mountain air. Others, on the other hand, were more like station wagons, stable, sturdy, reasonable, sensible and dependable, but unexciting, and, thus he thought, wastefully frittering their lives away by their attendance to the most mundane details of nothing that much mattered. His trusty car, though valiant in its tries, could scarce keep pace where passion's challenge lies, till fortune smiled. She turned towards Wooded Vale, a meadow's trap where love might claim its prize. Michael was falling behind, although doing the best that he could in his unsporty car, but an old jalopy compared to hers. Luckily he saw her turn off into a small wooded valley between two hilly ridges. Now he had her, he thought. Now there was no escape possible, for it was just a little dirt road trailing off into a meadow and a farm. Only a few more moments and they'd be together in sensual bliss. His phone then rang with Ninja's coded speech.
What doing? Danger near with stranger's reach?
Wrong number, friend.
Michael's swift reply, his mind fixed firm on love within his reach. But what strange sounds now filled the meadow fair? What rainbow colors danced upon the air? Hot air balloons, their tethers soon to break, were waiting winged to rise without a care. As he neared the meadow, he heard some great whooshing sounds that were familiar but couldn't quite be placed. Rainbow colors could be seen through the trees. What was all this? And then he understood. Of course, hot air balloons. The balloons were ready for launch, their baskets peopled, their ropes even now being untied from the stakes. This was not so good news. Soon the sky would fill with all these balloons and he'd never find her. He was in a frenzy. His frenzied heart found calm in searching glance. He spied her chariot in quick advance, beside a crimson yellow floating sphere, where fate prepared its next step in love's dance.
Make haste, dear Michael.
Came her siren call as floating craft began its upward crawl.
To Emerald City, come with me.
She cried while ropes dragged past him, teasing with their thrall. "Hurry up, Michael," she said as her balloon began to lift off, its ropes still dragging on the ground past him. "Come with me to the Emerald City." Just then the basket left the ground. Michael grabbed onto the rope and ran with it for a while, thinking crazily that he could somehow climb up it. Though heights did strike his heart with mortal dread, love conquered fear. As ancient wisdom said, he clutched the rope that lifted him aloft, while ground below grew distant as he sped. There was only one problem: he was afraid of heights. Nevertheless, love conquered fear, and so he held onto the rope as it gently lifted him off of the ground. But panic seized his soul in fickle grip as higher rose his unintended trip. He spied soft hay that promised gentle fall, and let his fingers from the lifeline slip. He soon had second thoughts, however, and panicked, realizing that he was almost getting too high to let go. Alas, the fates that govern mortal lands had other plans for suitors' bold demands. For not in Haystack did our hero land, but midst the pigs where darkest muck expands. He looked down and saw a barnyard filled with soft hay, and so, giving up the stunt as hopeless, let go of the rope and fell a short and harmless distance to the ground, but missed the hay, landing smack in the middle of the pigs' feeding area. His suit, once white as winter's purest snow, now blacker than the void where no stars glow, stood testament to love's demanding quest, and depths to which a seeker's heart might go. His white suit was now as black as coal in the nothing of a void at night with no moon.
Take heart!
From heights above she called with merry jest, "Take heart!" and flung her keys at his behest.
Find me where'er the winds may guide my way. In Kansas now no more, pursue your quest.
Trish looked down and was much amused at his discomfort, but was also relieved to see that he was okay. "Don't give up, young chap!" she yelled down to him. "Here are my car keys," she said, as she threw her set of keys down to him. "Come and find me wherever I land. Follow me. You're not in Kansas anymore, my good man." Midst curious pigs that snuffled at his plight, he pondered if love's chase brought such delight, till from his trunk fresh garments did appear to clothe anew this mud-bespattered night. Michael was sitting in the muck, surrounded by the curious living pork chops, bacons and hams, and wondering if this so-called adventure of love business was really worth it all. A pig ambled over to investigate, rubbing its nose over him, perhaps thinking that Michael was some new form of food. Michael pulled himself up, picked up the car keys, and then changed into his sports clothes, which he had luckily kept in the trunk of his car. Her chariot of gold now his to steer, each button, switch and dial crystal clear, when overhead her craft did sail once more, and logic fled before his passion's peer. He walked over to her beautiful Testarossa and sat in it, admiring it, much like he had often done in the new car showrooms, twiddling with this and every knob, trying out every button. He thought of gaining safety in the ninja base that had to be nearby, but Trish presently sailed overhead and thereby erased all logical thinking. Satisfied with knowing where every switch was in the car, Michael drove off and tried to keep Trish's balloon in sight, but soon lost it, then found it, then lost it again among the ridges. Through winding roads his quest did now pursue, as compass guided where her balloon flew, now seen, now lost among the ridges high, while updrafts bore her swift beyond his view. Not straight the path that led to love's domain, for roads care not for heart's directest gain, yet Michael tracked her course with steadfast will. As mountain winds sang their sweet refrain, at one with steel and power now he flew. This chariot of dreams proved swift and true, while lesser cars made way with cautious haste, as wealth's mere semblance parted seas of blue. Now this is a car, he thought, as he began to put it through its paces. Why, I feel like I'm a part of it, he marveled, as it held the corners due to its low center of gravity and its wide, stable body. The greatest part of driving it was seeing the other cars on the road give way to him, all figuring him to be ultra-rich and of course not wanting to take a chance of bumping him and scratching a $200,000 car. So this is what it feels like to be a millionaire! Speed faster! Ninja voices urged by phone. But Michael brushed such warnings with a groan, more pressing with a score of cars behind, that followed him through valleys not alone. Faster, MK, said another Ninja cell phone caller.
Stop bothering me, I don't want to buy a new condo.
However, Michael did heartily take of note the now 24 sedans following him, although they were a ways back, and put the pedal through the heavy metal of the radio. Through miles he tracked her floating silhouette, his heart a compass that could not forget. Till tunnel's darkness swallowed up his path, and panic's moment claimed its brief regret. He drove on for another 10 minutes or so, tracking her every move, sometimes finding her in the sky miles away. Yes, he was a driven man. He entered a tunnel, then soon panicked, not having his lights on and not instantly knowing where they were, but he smartly remembered where the headlight button was and flicked them on. But memory served as light switched into day, and tunnel's exit opened grand display. Fair England's countryside in glory spread, like Eden's garden lost, then found today. When he finally emerged from the darkness, the scene he saw was like a beautiful dream. was as if he was seeing the world for the first time, for the English countryside was beautiful, bright and bold beyond compare. He felt as a part of its every colour, texture and hue. Each colour sang, each texture spoke anew, as if creation's paint was morning true, and Michael laughed to know his journey's truth. To Oz's realm his passion's path withdrew. Her craft now sank from heaven's azure height, while Michael raced through groves that dimmed his sight, till round a bend the scene before him spread, a mansion grand in marble, pure and bright. Trish was dropping altitude now and descending rapidly. He lost her for a while, having had to race through a dense grove of trees that bordered close to the road. But when he came around a curve with a brief open view, there she was, softly landing in the centre of a large estate, where there was a sizable stone mansion built in the European tradition. Through garden paths his love did swiftly flee, while sinking silk like waves upon the sea, draped gently o'er the landing's chosen ground, and thoughts of theory struggled to break free. She leaped out of the balloon and ran for the garden. Michael watched as Trish disappeared into the ornamental grounds that surrounded the mansion. Her hot air balloon was gently and gracefully collapsing, slowly covering the ground around him. Forget all things, his heart sang wild and clear, as balloon's folds awoke him from his pier at wealth's domain that spread in splendour vast, where noble dreams seemed suddenly so near. The terraced grounds in perfect order lay, where marble walls rose proud in grand display, and Michael stood between two worlds at last, the quest for truth and love's more earthly way. Looking around, he took in the richness of the estate and couldn't help but translate it in his mind to a dollar figure. The grounds were perfectly terraced and landscaped. The mansion itself was made of pure marble with stone and slate at the base. The world of nobility was just sitting there waiting for him to become a part of it. Yet something strange hung in the silent air. No guards, no souls to tend this mansion fair. The whole place was more than magnificent, but something was not quite right. The grounds were empty. There were no security guards, no groundskeepers, and no servants. In fact, there were no signs of any life whatsoever. It seemed to be some sort of fortress of solitude, and this theory was confirmed when Michael heard a zap and a buzz. He quickly turned to see the heat shimmering near an electric security fence that had just snapped on behind him. Saved or ensnared? His mind did briefly race. Was Trish some madness in this lonely place? But peace soon flowed like water through his veins, alone together in this fortress grace. The groundless grounds held secrets of their own, where modern botany had wisely grown a maintenance-free carpet emerald deep, and Michael saw how Trish could live alone. It also neatly explained the absence of the security guards, for none were needed. Michael swung into action, for this was his middle name, a secret that even MI8 didn't know. As he ran toward the garden, he noted that what he thought to be grass had actually turned out to be a ground cover that he knew to be self-spreading, maintenance-free, and dense enough to keep out the weeds, thus explaining the absence of any groundskeepers. This was indeed a very modern estate. Things were becoming clear to Michael's finely tuned mind. Trish was some sort of a rich hermit or something. But lo, the garden held one challenge more. A hedge maze spread its puzzle walls before our hero's path, a European jest that trapped him in its green-leafed corridor. The garden turned out to be a maze of high hedges, a popular European diversion. Michael was not very happy to see it, even though it was a work of art, because he had thought to have an easy conclusion to the day's quest. Like beast ensnared, he paced the verdant walls, while disorientation's shadow falls. His reckless charge through branching paths proclaimed how love's swift chase off to confusion calls. He attacked the maze rather recklessly, and just as quickly lost his way. He was soon totally disoriented and began to feel more and more like a trapped animal. Through leafy gaps he spied his racing queen by lakeside pier in waiting pose serene, while thoughts of steadier loves crossed his mind, yet speed's wild charm held power still unseen. Michael peered through a small opening between the bushes and was just able to catch a glimpse of Trish heading down to a large lake behind the mansion. She walked out on a pier towards a powerboat, then looked back and saw that he was nowhere in sight. So she apparently sat down near the boat to wait for him. Michael remembered his analogy of women to cars. Trish was even faster than a sports car. She was an Indianapolis speed racer who was going to burn out her engine and probably not even finish the event. For a brief moment he wished for some station wagon-like stability. But boy, he thought, what an autobiography he could write. Through hedge gap tight, he boldly forced his way, his flesh by thorns marked for love's display, when she, espying him, leapt quick to boat.
Come on, Michael, catch me if you can.
And called him to yet one more chase that day. Michael could sense that Trish had even more adventures in mind. And this weighed on him slightly, making him bold enough to throw himself through the small gap in the hedges to surprise her.
Hurry up, Michael, come quick! Run, Michael, run!
She yelled to him as she drove the boat around in circles, waving a ski rope in her hands. For a split second, Michael began to wonder why he was always chasing after ropes. Nevertheless, he hurriedly removed his socks and shoes and quickly jumped into the lake. She slowed the boat, coming almost near him, and smiled for a moment at his spirited self. His shoes cast off, he plunged in water's grip, till Ropehold yanked him on his wild trip. She threw him the ski rope. He grabbed for it, just managing to get the rope handle as she threw the throttle forward to full power. He ploughed through the lake like an anchor. Half drowned, half skiing on his naked feet, he marveled at this impossible feat, till wonder broke his balance, sent him down to skip like stone where lake and sky did meet. She dragged him along, half in and half out of the water. Somehow he got onto his feet and found himself water skiing barefoot. He was so amazed at the impossibility of this feat that he just as quickly collapsed into the water, rolling and tumbling forward, sort of like a stone that had been thrown, skipping and skimming. She left him there with life rings mercy small, while love and doubt fought o'er his watery fall, till challenge remembered lent him might, and sure he gained to sink in exhaustion's thrall. From dreams he woke to find her standing near the flower beds, his vengeance moment clear. He feigned his sleep till chance for chase arose.
Doom!
Then sprang with cry of doom in her ear.
Wait till I get my hands on you, Trish. You're doomed.
He awoke later, at first believing that he'd dreamt a nightmare, but harsh reality smacked him in the face when he saw Trish waiting for him in front of the flower garden. He pretended to be still asleep, and so when she looked away for a second, he leapt up and ran, getting to within 10 feet of her before she spotted him and bolted towards the garden. Through gardens strange, where roses blue did bloom, past doors carved deep with artistry's own loom. Through foyer blessed with rainbow-tinted light, he followed laughter up the winding room. Round tower high his quest at last did end, where mirror glass made reality bend, and there stood Trish in rose-hued gown of old. Blue flowers in her hair did beauty lend.
Up and up he went, to a round tower room where the door had been left ajar. She turned to him with a smile that lit the air.
For you, my love, you are an exciting man.
At last.
I am a 10th degree Grandmaster Ninja, and you have done very well in your preliminary training.
Let us begin some training in the sense of smell.
Well, I'll be a flabbergasted energy pattern of in and out waves.
Animals have about 10 times that many. I'll teach you how to stretch your nose and smell like a pig.
All is one that is made of one thing, energy.
You are in one of our major ninja centers. You see no one else here since they are mostly off on missions of the gravest danger to the world.
Why ninjas?
Those trained in the martial arts and mental discipline have reached great depths of self, spirit, beauty, courage, wisdom, and dependability. Out of the billions of the world, only a few hundred or so are on Toe Quest, the focal point of all scientific and meditative inquiry concerning existence.
What about the government, and where is this conspiracy?
They have infiltrated many governments, and so we can trust no one. They are all over, anywhere, trying to manipulate the going-ons of many countries. Perhaps we can make use of your energizing abilities, along with those of your fellows.
I can do both.
Heaven's grace bestowed the flower's sweet perfume.
I'm back. I'd never known of such pleasant fragrances.
Smells alert the ninja in the dark even as much as sound, the subcategories being aroma, fragrance, scent, perfume, redolence, bouquet, stench, feeder, stink, reek, and whiff. Yes, but I am attracted to you too.
The inverse also applies on...
Here, have a glass. Don't forget to swirl, sniff, sip, swallow, or spit if you are just wine sampling. This is only the beginning. Your journey of protecting the toe and learning more about it will be a strenuous one.
It is my dream to become one.
Come hither.